I would like to call the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education on Wednesday, June 9th to order at 7:02 p.m.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me start by saying it is great to see a full house here tonight. It's been a long time coming, so pleased to see that. We have quite a meeting this evening. So, all right, item number 2, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Foote. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Showers. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 3 on the agenda, approval of the minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 12th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By
Second.
Mr. Showers, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mrs. Lucian abstains. All right, so item number 4 on the agenda, we have a presentation. We have the Teacher of the Year presentation, so I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Mozak-Peza.
It is my honor to stand before you tonight to present the 2022 Teacher of the Year for the Plymouth Public Schools. This year's selection process was particularly difficult given the Herculean efforts made by so many of our teachers during this very difficult year of remote and hybrid learning. So many new skills were learned and so many new instructional strategies were implemented that narrowing the field to just one person for this honor was very challenging because we recognize the incredible work of so many people. The person who was ultimately selected has been working tirelessly over the last year and a half to keep students and staff connected to school, despite the separation inherent in distance and hybrid learning. As the virus forced us to spread out, she used her position as the advisor of the high school's PEP club to create opportunities that pulled people together. Through her virtual spirit weeks, her virtual yoga classes, and a field day at the end of this year, she helped our school community come together and stay connected safely. In her classroom, our newly appointed Teacher of the Year builds cultural awareness and strong communication skills. Her students not only learn Spanish, they learn about the wide variety of people out there in the world and how to successfully navigate in situations where people have different expectations and cultural norms. Through the foreign travel program, she has chaperoned trips to France and Spain, giving students a chance to practice what they have learned. I had not had the opportunity to get to know our candidate prior to the interview process for this award, but I can say that based on that experience, she has a tremendous passion for her work as a teacher. Her enthusiasm for working with students was evident as soon as she started answering our questions, as she explained the Telemundo-style newscasts her students had created, discussed the pros and cons of different grading systems, and described her work on the school improvement team. It was clear that she loves working with students and staff at Terryville High School. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you Sharon Erickson as the 2022 Plymouth Public Schools Teacher of the Year, and I would like to ask the Terryville High School Principal, Mr. Michael Holtz, to come up and say a few words about Shannon.
Good evening. Thank you. Our Teacher of the Year was not born or destined to be a teacher. Her path into education is a true example of the hard work that it takes to cultivate a passion. A passion that began from an inspirational teacher back in Southington High School. Now, some 10 years later, Ms. Erickson has been paying it forward and inspiring her students to find their passion. As educators, we spend a fair amount of time talking about the X's and O's, standards, curriculum, PPTs, SRBI, all the other fun buzzwords and acronyms. When I think of Shannon, these aren't the first things that come to my mind, and not for any deficiency on her part. In fact, Shannon's teaching is phenomenal, well planned out, and thoroughly engaging. The truth is, if you step into a room, you're going to learn, and you're going to like it. It doesn't matter if you're her boss, or if you're there to evaluate her performance, or if you didn't do so well in your own high school Spanish class. I will say that with a ton of certainty, that had I had Miss Erickson as a Spanish teacher, I would have done far better with the way that she embeds the language and the culture and brings it to life every day. The real reason that we're recognizing Shannon Erickson as the Plymouth Public Schools 2022 Teacher of the Year is her level of engagement, energy, and inspiration that she provides to our entire school community. Shannon is driven by the idea that high school is far more than learning about the periodic table, the quadratic formula, or even conjugating verbs. For Shannon, high school is a time to explore your interests and be exposed to a vast and rich set of experiences. As class advisor, coach, pep club advisor, and a lead teacher in our foreign country trips, Shannon dedicates much of her energy to provide those very experiences to the students at Terryville High School. Over the past 15 months, much of the normal high school experience so many of us have grown accustomed to has been drastically altered. But not even a global pandemic would defeat Shannon in her mission to maintain the feel of a school community. Remote learning, hybrid learning, it didn't matter. Shannon continues to be a leading force in school spirit and student engagement. The first 5 words in the general requirements for Teacher of the Year, as can be found on Wikipedia, is the ability to inspire children. Shannon, you are paying it forward. You absolutely are inspiring our children. Your former teacher, all the students that you've touched, and each and every one of your colleagues is proud of your accomplishments and proud to have you as our Teacher of the Year.
Doing yoga, we're going to take a deep breath right now to get it all back together. Thank you so much, Kathleen and Mike. I didn't even know what to say about those words. That was amazing. I would also like to thank the committee of teachers that took their time out of their schedule, and Sherry and the Board of Ed for always supporting me, for the interview that you guys did. It really was just amazing to get to speak to other teachers again that I haven't gotten to see all year. You know, I see my same little pod of people a little bit, but that was really nice, so thank you all. And it's also nice to be in front of you, not asking for your permission to go on a trip, but I'll be back here again next year to do that. On top of that, I would really like to thank my family, specifically my boyfriend and colleague, thank you Plymouth Public Schools, for always supporting me in every single thing that I do. My sisters, one of my wonderful 4 nieces, and my mom. My mom has been my biggest supporter, encourager. She's allowed me to grow as a person, and I can't thank you enough for that. To Mike and Darren, you guys have been blown away by your support as bosses, as administrators. Truly, thank you for all that you've done for me, for the kids, and just to support us as a staff. Which leads me to my next thank you, and a huge moment of recognition for our staff here at Plymouth Public Schools. I truly have never seen a community of people like this. I grew up in a very big town where I like to call it a little big town. You know, we all knew each other to an extent, but this town, when something happens, everybody is there to pick you up. Even when something doesn't happen, everybody's there to pick you up. The kids have amazing relationships with each other. They have amazing relationships with their teachers, and it really just is so rooted here, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. And the staff this year has just done a phenomenal job coming together in a time where we were all so spread apart. I just want to take a moment to say that, to be honest with you, many of us discussed this a few months back, that we really felt that Teacher of the Year should just be given to everybody this year, and I'm not always somebody who thinks everyone should get a trophy. However, this year, I can't even put it into words how much support the teachers provided, not only for their students, but for the parents who were trying to make it work as working individuals and now teachers in home and tutors and facilitators and trying to keep their kids engaged and involved, but working on their mental health and yeah, I mean, honestly, I would just love to dedicate my Teacher of the Year award to my colleagues in the entire town, in our state. You guys are amazing. And to our students here, we have a couple who, of course, have come through my classroom. You guys, this is all for you. You know, Pep Club, it's all for you guys. The trips, it's all for you. I just want to be able to share my passion with you guys, and, you know, I love every single second of it, and the joy that it brings you guys will, you know, bring me joy and the rest of our community and the world, you know, positivity for the days to come. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. With your remarks, it's easy to see why you were chosen as Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we're going to recognize the graduating student representatives. I'll turn it over to Ms. Turner.
Thank you. So as Shannon was just talking about, this has certainly been a different type of year. And we have been so honored to have some wonderful student representatives to the Board of Ed who it's great to see them in person. We listen to you, your voices coming from somewhere, from your homes, all your reports that you did. You did a wonderful job keeping us informed about what was happening in the school. You gave us great insight into how kids were feeling about where if we were hybrid, or what it was like to be remote, what it was like to come back and see your friends once we came back full in. So it's so important to have the student perspective, and each of you did such a wonderful job, not only keeping us informed about what was happening, but how you were feeling about what was happening, especially this year, and going really above and beyond to make all of the students at the high school try to have some kind of normalcy this year with the events that you sponsored. So I know I can't thank you enough for all of that. It wasn't easy, and you should be really proud of your efforts. So to thank you, we just have a little something here from the board. So Tyler, Liliana, and Gina, if you don't mind coming up, we have just some parting gifts. Thank you. Tyler, yours is an envelope, not a bag. Are you okay with that? Okay. Thank you so much for everything. I think they're both the same. So thank you so much for everything that you did. It was so great to have you and to get all of that great information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so next item on the agenda. As you know, the Plymouth Public School System was in need and had to do a search for a new superintendent. So after the application, the committee and the board has decided on a candidate for acting superintendent of schools. This person was recently an employee of the district, came to the elementary school and came up and left as the principal of the high school. 16 years as an administrator, 9 of those within the town of Plymouth. Right? I hope I have that right. As I said, the board felt that this candidate would be best for the public school system out of the other candidates and the town. So at this time, I would like to introduce the acting superintendent for the school year 2021 to 22, Mr. Brian Falcone.
Well, thank everyone for having me, and it's great to be back in district. Approximately a month ago, could be a month and a half, it's been a pretty long process. When the board made the announcement that they were going to move forward with me as the next superintendent of schools, I received a number of text messages emails, voicemails, phone calls. I received one from Marty Sanshaw. And most of you know Marty Sanshaw if you lived in this town for a few years. He's kind of a staple. And he's very simple with his words. He wrote, "Congratulations, Brian, welcome home." And that stuck with me, because this is home for me. This is where I want to be. This is where I belong. And I want to thank the Board of Education for the opportunity to come back, and to come back as the superintendent of schools. We have a lot of work to do, and it's not because the amazing work of the Teacher of the Year or the superintendent that stepped in the middle of a pandemic. We have to recover from a pandemic. It's been a year and a half of challenging times for all of us. But when you look at the field of education and you see what our teachers have gone through, what our support staff has gone through, what our administration has gone through, parents and especially kids, we need to recover. We need to reset what it's like to come back to school for teachers and for kids. We need to reset the norms of what's acceptable behavior in school, what's acceptable academically in school. And we need to raise the bar with our academic rigor. And we also need to create opportunities to engage our kids in learning in a different way. And that's a lot of the work that we're going to be doing. You know, I start on July 1st, but I'm ready to start today. I do have a graduation in another school due first, but I'm excited to start to work with this administrative team and with the teachers and with the staff. And notice I said together, because we do it as a team. This isn't done by one person. It's done as a team and a group. And that's how we're going to thrive and get back to where we need to be as a school district because of this pandemic and the past year and a half that we've had to go through. So, again, I'd like to thank the Board of Education for this opportunity and to be back here in district. I look forward to working with you in moving the district to the next step and moving forward. And I also look forward to working with the administrative team, the faculty, and the staff. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I motion for a recess so we can celebrate all the awards, one thing that I think that needs to be said. We found ourselves in need of a superintendent at the time, and we looked, and we decided as a board that we wanted someone from within. Ms. Turner took that on. I don't think, knowing what the year really held for her. As I said before, she handled that. She stepped up to the plate. A little reluctant at first, but I think we coaxed her into it. Really kind of gave her no choice. And she handled that professionally and with grace, as I said before. So everything that you've done, everything that you had to endure, going from a building admin to an intern superintendent, must have been, you must have sat there some days and said, why did I do this? Right? So, but I would like to thank you for that. And you really got our school system, our students, and our parents through one of its most difficult times. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And I think that
Thank you.
now I would like to entertain a motion to recess at 7:20 p.m. in order to give the public and the board an opportunity to meet the acting superintendent of schools for the Plymouth Public School System, and to recognize the Teacher of the Year, and to get to know and congratulate the graduating student representatives. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Schausch, seconded by Mr. Foote. I think we're just going to pre-fill them in from now on. I don't think we need to do all the formalities. Any discussion on the motion?
Got to move it along.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in recess. Item number 5 on the agenda is superintendent's update. I'd like to entertain a motion to move item number 6 before the superintendent's update because they have a previous engagement that they would like to get to. Does anybody? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Go ahead.
So moved by Ms. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Foote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so we're going to talk to the student representatives. We'll start with Tyler Mandela.
Hello. Okay, so the seniors were able to participate in a full day of games, tie-dyeing T-shirts, and a surprise performance by, TH's very own staff infection, which Ms. Erickson's a part of. And this was in place of our senior class trip, and the seniors are very, very grateful for everyone who was able to make that day so special for us in place of a senior field trip. And the underclassmen also had the opportunity to have their very own field day full of games and tie-dyeing, and each grade had like an hour of a half day to take part in that, and that was organized by the PEP Club. And I just wanted to extend my most sincere thanks for giving me the opportunity to give monthly reports on student activities, and thank you for all that you have done to keep students safe this year especially. And I'm going to be attending the University of Hartford this fall, and will be majoring in biology. Have a great summer.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Gina Buckley.
Hello. So I'm going to also be speaking on behalf of Liliana tonight. She couldn't make it today. But I wanted to start off my portion by talking about the Memorial Day Parade and the THS Band and Color Guard performances. They were led by Mr. Keene, and they gave a wonderful performance. And I would like to thank the Board of Education for the amazing opportunity to serve as a student representative. And I feel like I've learned a lot through this experience. And I'm very grateful for all that the board has done for students this year, especially during this really crazy time. And I just wanted to let you know that I will be attending Pace University in the fall, and I will be majoring in political science. And as for Lily, she again is sorry that she couldn't make it today, but she just wanted to recognize Katie DeForest and Nick Fesco for their achievements in track and field this year in the Class S race. And Nick Fesco qualified for the 2021 Opens, and we will update you with how he does. And Lily is also thankful for her experience with the board, and she would like to let everyone know that she's attending UMass Amherst in the fall for political science as well.
Thank you, Gina. You guys can leave whenever you feel that you want to or need to. Thank you. Superintendent's update.
Thank you. Before I go into the reopening plan presentation, I wanted to just let you know who our Board of Ed student representatives for next year will be. Matthew Elwell, who will be a senior, Rebecca Dorsey, who will be a senior, and Zachary Omaki, who will be a junior. So I'm sure they will do a wonderful job, and it's really nice to have student representatives who are able to keep us informed and let us know how things are going at the high school. So we thank them in advance. I think all of you at your seats have a copy of, it's not called a reopening plan anymore, it's Safe Return to In-Person Instruction and Continuity of Services Plan. This is the template that the State Department has provided to superintendents. I tried to give you some quick summaries in my weekly updates about this particular plan. This plan is actually a requirement of our American Rescue Plan grant. So we need to have this template completed and posted on our website by June 23rd, but this also needs to be submitted with our grant, which is due in mid-August. And something that we have been told along the way during the many webinars and meetings we've had about this American Rescue Plan is that this particular template was really meant that because the American Rescue Plan is federal, there are a lot of districts, as you know, across the country who've never come back to school. And so this template or plan was really meant for those districts and states where kids hadn't come back to school in person and they really wanted them to be held accountable. As you know, in Connecticut, we have been in school. But again, this was really a good exercise for us to really put on paper the things that we have been doing and putting our best sort of guess about what next year will look like, because again, we don't have clear mandates yet about the start of school. We feel that at this point we will be in person 5 days a week. That will look more typical than this year. What we're really waiting on at this point are what will the distancing rules be? We're assuming we'll still have to contact trace, but what will that look like? And masking, which really is going to depend on the age of those that are eligible to get the vaccine. So those are all things that we still wait on. I'm sure we'll be getting more information. But I wanted to quickly go through this with you and do it at the board meeting. This will be posted, thank you, tech team, on our website tomorrow for parents to look at. And then as we go through the summer, I'm sure this is going to change many times as it did throughout this year. But this will give you a sense of sort of what the state is asking for, or the federal government, and where we are. So the first bullet is about health and safety strategies. And they're really asking about policies, which we do have. You remember in October we did, the board approved the face masks and coverings, which we had to put in a policy, which really talks about following the guidelines for what masks are acceptable and appropriate. And then, of course, we have student health services policies, which talk about how we follow state laws for vaccinations and all of the other things that we require. Can you go to the next slide? They also now talk about mitigation strategies, so universal and correct wearing of masks, and I want to thank the admin team also, because we did this together as a team. We talked about what we are doing. So obviously, as we've been reporting to you all year, we follow all the guidelines by the CDC, the State Department of Health, and the State Department of Education. We provided families with all of that guidance, and we also, as you know, had cloth and paper masks provided to anyone in school that requested them free of charge. Obviously, we talked a lot about physical distancing, so at this point we are at about 3 feet, some places a little less, like at the high school. We maintained some cohorting. We're thinking that we, at the elementary level especially, may not need to cohort the way we did, the way we're doing now. However, you know that just the nature of a pre-K to 5 class, they sort of naturally cohort anyway. They're together most of the day, but we're thinking they'll probably be able to be back in the cafeteria to have lunch, go to their specials classroom. So we will probably need to maintain seating charts so that if we have to contact trace, that will make it a little bit easier for our nurses, who we couldn't have made it through this year without them and all of that work. Hand washing and respiratory etiquette, we did a lot of professional development before school started. Carol Giannini, our nurse coordinator, and her team continued that throughout the school year as things changed. Jim Mazon and his staff did a lot of work with Carol on professional development before school started, following all the guidelines for ventilation. He helped map out classrooms and where desks should be, and followed all the cleaning protocols that were given to us, so they did a great job with that. Can you go to the next page? I just talked about contact tracing, so we had seating charts throughout the school year for all classrooms and any school-provided transportation, so all of our buses and vans, kids, they had assigned seats and we knew where they were, so that if we were contacted about a positive case. We followed all of the quarantine and isolation protocols as directed by the CDC and our local health department, and every school had a designated isolation room. Diagnostic screening and testing we did not do at the school level, but our families had access to any kind of testing and screening in the community, and we made all of those locations available to them. As you know, and thank you to Walt for coordinating this with Waterbury Hospital, we were able to provide vaccine clinics. I was just talking to Ellen again. She gave me my first shot. I'll never forget that. And so we were able to do that for all school personnel that wanted to have a vaccine. We were able to have our students remote, so we didn't really disrupt instruction those days. We let parents know way ahead of time. And then we have also been providing information to our families about vaccination clinics, not only for adults, but once the vaccine became eligible for 12 and up. And again, one of those was through the Plymouth Volunteer Ambulance Corps, so thank you for that. We put all of that information out so families would know. Lindsay and her team worked really hard with administrators to make sure that students with disabilities were provided appropriate accommodations, especially with mask wearing. Staff that worked with students who were high risk or those that couldn't tolerate masks were given extra PPE. So we felt like we really did what we needed to do for our students. Next slide. The continuity of services. So we're talking here about how we're going to address academic needs, social, emotional, mental health needs. Academically, as I said, this year we got to about 4.5 days a week for all of our students. I believe that next year we will be 5 days a week at this point. We have an in-person extended school year program for students with disabilities. Last year that did not happen, so we're excited about that. And in using some of our grant money, we're going to also have a summer program to address learning loss in our regular education students. So we are excited about that, and we're also in the process of hiring interventionists that will be through those grants that we've talked about to help with those learning losses over the next 2 years. Lindsay talked at the last board meeting about our partnership with Connecticut Junior Republic for mental health services in school. We believe, again, with things returning more to normal next year, we'll have more after-school clubs, more consistently for all students. We believe that our elementary kids will be able to interact at recess, not with just kids in their cohort, but all of their grade level peers. And again, we will always follow CDC guidelines. We're going to provide, thank you to Matt and his team, we had meals available all year for our students, whether they were remote or in person. We had meals for students who, if we had half days, they could take a grab-and-go meal. And we're also going to be providing meals throughout the summer on a weekly basis. So families will be able to get 7 days worth of breakfast and lunch. And so, Matt, thank you for setting that up. The federal government is also requiring that we have public comment on any of these plans, as you know, because some of you were involved in our reopening plans. So we believe that we've had some good stakeholder input that will continue through these meetings. We will continue to do surveys. We will also gather again, I'm assuming, as reopening committees to kind of go through plans and current guidelines to make sure that all stakeholders have a voice. And then, as required by the federal government with this American Rescue Plan, we also have to do a periodic review process every 6 months on these plans through September of 2023. And then finally, you can see the review process, the dates that we are required to make sure we review, revise, and update. And then an understandable and uniform format. Thank you to Rich and his team. We will post this on the website, and then they do perform accessibility checks on every document so that we can make sure that everyone is able to access them, and we also would have physical copies upon request. I know this was a quick review, but I think this is all information that you've been receiving all throughout the school year. And I really wanted to say that I'm really proud of the efforts that we made this year. It was difficult, but I think that every decision that we made was based on health and safety. And I feel really proud of that because that was my responsibility for every person in this district. And I think that we did, with your support, such a great job of that. We have some needs to really address, as do everyone across the state, for learning loss, but I feel like with Kathleen's help and Lindsay and Matt, we're really coming forward now with administrators and making some plans for how we're going to do that with some of this grant money. Anybody have any questions about that? The last thing I wanted to say was I wanted to thank Lindsay for her commitment to our students and their families throughout her years here in Terryville as a school psychologist, and then most recently as Director of Pupil Personnel and Special Education Services. She will be missed. I have not worked with her for very long, but having worked with her as a building principal and then as interim superintendent, she is wise beyond her years. She advocates fiercely for students and their families, and on a personal level, being the principal of a school with preschool, she was a definite advocate and someone that I really depended on to work together on making that the best program that it could be. So I wanted to thank you for that, Lindsay. So thank you. Lindsay, anything you wanted to update on?
No. I just want to say thank you. Some of you have been here since I started, and some of you have gotten to know more recently, but the district allowed me to really grow and kind of flourish and step into this role seamlessly and with a lot of support, and it has really helped me to become the educator that I am today, and I just want to say thank you for that opportunity. And I will make sure that I leave all the notes and information behind that I can for the next person. And I have no doubt that you guys will continue to support students with disabilities. It's such a really important role. And, you know, you've supported them both from students with disabilities that are obvious and apparent to the mental health disabilities that aren't always obvious and apparent. And it's been a pleasure to work with a board that is supportive of that.
Thank you. Kathleen, any updates?
The maiden voyage of our regular ed summer school is well underway. We have most of our staff in place, and we have between the 3 buildings probably about 65 kids signed up so far. So it's definitely moving forward, and the teachers are going to start next week working on writing up the curriculum for the 3 weeks in July. So that's going really well. And as Sherry mentioned, we are in the thick of hiring for all those intervention positions, so it's coming along really well, and we've had some really good candidates apply, so I think that those positions are going to be a huge help once we get the folks on board.
I thought of one other thing. In the next week or two, we're going to be posting a lot of para positions, so if anyone, just a plug for our people that work directly with our students with disabilities, if you have any friends, colleagues, husbands, wives, whatever you've got, there's going to be a lot of para positions open, so that's my plug to help support the students with disabilities. Sorry, not your problem.
That's it?
Thank you.
I'm okay.
Oh, no, you don't go down there.
Yeah. I skipped him on purpose.
He's special.
Item number 7 on the agenda, public comment. If there is any public comment, remember there's a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Please state your name and your address.
Randy Picard, 140 Old Waterbury Road here in Terryville. Hi, Brady and Simon. I am the library chairperson, and I just wanted to give a couple of notes on what's coming up for the summer in the library here in Terryville. We ask that you join our 2021 summer reading program to read throughout the summer and earn tickets for really cool prizes. The program is open to all children, teens, and adults. Reading is not the only thing on the library schedule, though. We're also offering a broad selection of fun virtual and in-person events, including story times, an author visit, take and make kits, STEAM programming for children and teens, live animal programs, cooking programs, and an introduction to henna body decoration, art history program for both teens and adults. And any information can be found on the reading program and a full calendar of all the fun summer events on our webpage, terryville.info/summer-reading-program. We, as a board, decided it was a tough decision, but with Gretchen, the library director, we thought that we should still follow guidelines in regards to masks for any patrons coming into the library for now. You still need to wear masks, and we are taking all precautions, as we have been for the last year and a half, to make sure that everyone is safe going into the building. Any up-to-date info on that, please check our up-to-date website as well. Wanted to note that after our last Board of Ed meeting, we had a winner for the Makerspace picked. His name is Nicholas Tishon. Sorry if I pronounced that last name wrong. He named our Makerspace program, which is in creation right now and hopes to be open during the summer. It's called Creation Station. He was one of 23 applicants that submitted a name for this, And by receiving the most votes from all the submissions and picked by the Library Board of Trustees, he was awarded a gift from the library. And there's a really good article and story on him from the Bristol Press. If you go on bristolpress.com, look at May 19th, there's a really nice article on that. This Saturday, we're also having a chalk art festival in like Terryville. So at the library, at the children's area on the sidewalk. Right now we have 16 different applicants signed up, and they're going to be making different chalk creations. And there's going to be a category winner for both children, teens, and adults. Each one wins a prize. And that's going to be from 9:30 to 11:30 this Saturday. Also, I wanted to say thank you to the principals who put info on our library in their email blasts that went to all the families and caregivers of the students. And I want to thank the Board of Ed for having me be the liaison and speaking at your meetings both in person and online. And I really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great summer, and I'll see you in the fall.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I think the relationship between the local library and the school system is a valuable one. Thanks for bringing that forward. Any other public comment? All right. Hearing none, we'll move along to unfinished business. Before us, we have the Policy Series 3000 Business and Purchasing and the Code of Conduct governing requirements under the federal award. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the Policy Series 3000 Business Purchasing and Code of Conduct governing procurements under a federal award. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Who's that? Michelle Lucian for the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ms. Roth? Any discussion on the motion? Yes.
Can you let us know why this particular policy came forward?
So, yeah, and I knew you were going to ask, and I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Tenza, but it's not what you think it is. That's a separate policy. So I'll let Mr. Tenza answer this question.
So this policy revision was brought forth because it was an audit finding on the last two audits from the state that we were not in compliance with the new federal guidelines that came out 2 years ago. So all this policy does is puts us in compliance and takes care of that audit issue. It doesn't have anything to do with, I know there's a question about another policy, which will be under review by the board at some point. So this is simply so that we're within federal guidelines with purchasing, especially because we currently are getting so much federal funding.
Yeah. So, okay. Any other questions from Mr. Tenza? Any other discussion on this motion? Does everybody understand what this is and what this, more importantly, what this isn't? Okay. All right. Okay. We ready for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right, under new business, I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize the interim superintendent of schools to work with the business manager in order to make the necessary transfers and expenditures to close the books as of June 30th, 2021, and to expend funds for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Mr. Showers, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any discussion?
Yes. Typically, I know because we're going to be changing superintendents, but typically we do a motion the last meeting to get us through the whole summer if there's any expenditures after the new fiscal year. So why don't we have that in our agenda? Because this only gives authority until the 30th of June, but we have expenditures that we may have from the 1st of July to the middle of August, and we always give the authority to the superintendent.
So those expenditures are 2021 and 2022.
Right.
Right.
I understand that, but we still give the authority, because we're not meeting in July, we always give the authority to the superintendent and the business manager to provide service if we need it after that time, without the boards, because we're not here. That's my only concern, is we don't have that motion.
So I'll amend my motion.
I was going to say, amend the
Yeah.
motion.
I will amend the motion.
Yeah.
To add that piece.
Yep.
Yes. So I'd
So
like to.
let's retract the one we have.
I retract the motion that I made, and I will rephrase. I'd like to entertain a motion to authorize the interim superintendent of schools to work with the business manager in order to make the necessary transfers and expenditures to close the books as of June 30, 2021, and to expend the funds for fiscal year 2020 and 2021. Also, be able to utilize the budget 2021 to 2022 to take care of business,
To authorize the
to
superintendent.
authorize the superintendent and the business manager to expend those funds as needed
Yeah.
until, we're going to say August, the August meeting of the
Yeah.
Plymouth Board of Education.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Johnson for the motion, seconded by Mr. Foote. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Don't go too far. Item number 10, Board Members Committee Reports, Finance and Operations. All right, at this time, Mr. Tenzel.
So I get my own number.
You do? I forgot you a bunch of times, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. You figure all the times that we talk, you would remember me once in a while. I don't know.
Oh, it's up here. It doesn't go away.
I just want to start with saying that this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to run through a school year closing, and I want to thank everybody for their support in doing this, especially Sherry Turner and the administrators that have been patient with me as I kind of learn my way through this. But I think things are going really well as far as closing is concerned. In my report, you'll see that I'm looking to have really all of our expenses finalized by June 18th, which is typically ahead of schedule, with the exception of the final payroll, and we are well on our way to be able to do that. I actually opened up the 2021-2022 budget year to the administrators so that they can actually start putting in requests for next year now, because as you know, they break for the summer, and if they can get their requests in now, then we can process them along the way. So they would not be approved until July, but at least they would have the requisitions in. I know that Mr. Trudeau is all over that. In my report, I talked about, the grants and where those stand. The restructuring plan is well on its way. I know that packing is fast and furious at both the schools, and we're getting ready to be able to move and transport the things between the two locations before the July 1st date, so that we're encompassing those expenses this year, so it has no impact on next year's budget. The lighting program that we signed up for with Eversource is really coming to a close. Fisher is done. There's a little bit left to do at PCS because they had to order some special fixtures. The high school, a majority of it is done, as well as the middle school, and we've gotten some really good feedback about not only the brightness in the rooms, but also the light itself. It's not as harsh as some other lights, so I know that the cafeteria here has already been done, so I don't know whether you'd notice or not, but so far that's going well. And the big thing for us is the food service. We are going to end the year with a program deficit, but there'll be no money coming out of the operating budget because we did have a reserve left over. So when I first met with Walt in November, I had a forecast of losing probably about $80,000. And we're going to end somewhere around $9,000 in a deficit. And that is really hats off to Alicia and her staff. She's done a really great job of getting meals out to our students. We're really not selling anything extra. It's all in the free meals to the students, and she's done a great job. And actually, she's the one who came to me and talked about summer. We were on the fence about whether we could do it or not do it. Were we going to be able to break even? And we figured out that we would be able to break even if we had 20 20 families a week. And right now we have 70 families signed up. We expect that to be about 100 students. So we're going to be able to do some great things for the community. So I will update you, the board, through Walt weekly as to how the rest of this closing is going, so you know kind of where we are financially and what things we're doing with some of the funds along the way. And then we'll be closed out. So it's going well. Thank you again for your support. And where's Brian? Brian, I look forward to working with you. A lot to cover for next year. It's going to be challenging.
Thank you for your hard work. You've been doing a great job now. All right. All right. Personnel report, as everybody received it in their packet. Any comments or anything about the personnel report? Questions? Okay. Board? Okay. We have some hiring going on. So, again, to back up Lindsay, fathers, wives, boyfriends. Anybody who's qualified, please apply. All right. Okay. Second, public comment. Do we have any other public comment? All right. Moving along. Hearing none, we will go to item number 12, board liaison reports. Harry S. Fisher Elementary School. I wasn't able to attend this meeting. I had personal stuff going on. I apologize for that. So Ms. Florenciani stood in my place at the meeting. She was there. So do you have anything that you would like to bring forward?
Just, it's going to be the same pretty much for all the schools, getting ready for the end of the year. Field days, festivities, promotions. A couple of new board members are there. They do an amazing job fundraising at that particular school. And it's just smooth sailing now. Everything's paid and it's just time to party.
All right, good. Mr. Elsegar.
Yeah, similarly enough, I guess. They had their spring book fair, which they said went really well, even though it was different than most years. Their 5th grade end of year celebration is Friday, June 11th, and they're going to do a bunch of celebratory stuff, like a walk around Whitney Court and a bunch of other things they named. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you. All right, back to you, Ms. Florenciani.
For the middle school, they are having an amazing 8th grade social. They are having Frankie's. They're having a neon glow theme. A lot of the 8th grade parents worked really hard to get decorations and everything for the ceremony and this event. We still have markers for sale to like write on your windows. So if anyone wants them between the high school or the middle school, they're $20. A nice big packet. Even if teachers wanted to write on their classroom windows, they're a really nice big marker. Booster Club, they had their sports award, and they're doing summer conditioning again, which is a really great program. It's tentatively set for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 to 5. They've sent out a tentative date schedule. But if you have an athlete, it's a really great opportunity for your children to go into the weight room, to do cardio, to keep yourself going. So when the sports season kicks in, it's totally free for the families. The Booster Club pays for it. So that's a really great thing for this Booster Club. Terryville High School, PTSA, we were so nervous that we weren't going to be able to do an event. But we are able to do the traditional sports center. We only have 60 kids signed up so far. We had a prepay for 80. So if you have a senior, please go. It's totally free. We're going to be giving a little prize to every kid that comes, and it's a prize that every teenager likes, even adults like. So it's going to be well worth it for them to go. We have transportation that's going to be coming to the school. They'll be taking the school buses there and back. So please sign up for that. We're still accepting permission slips. And that's it.
That's it. All right. Mrs. Colosso.
No, she just did mine.
Okay. She stole your thunder.
No, she didn't.
All right.
She didn't steal it.
Mr. Foote.
No report.
No report. All right. Ms. Roth, Kate?
Yep, I have a couple of items. First of all, there's a save the date for the 11th annual CABE Summer Leadership Conference on Thursday, August 5th, which should be taking place in Westbrook. There is also a legislative wrap-up that's going to take place on June 14th if anybody wants to attend. It's about the 2021 legislative session. And finally, there's a diversity, equity, inclusion survey that they're asking all of us to fill out so that they can better understand the demographics of our boards and the types of programs that they can offer to us as well.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnson.
I don't have one.
What?
I was in New York.
All right, moving along. Mr. Showers.
No report.
No report. All right, we're getting there.
It's getting there.
We're
Yeah, it's getting there.
All right.
Hopefully for
It's
next
trucking
school
along.
year.
The whole year was safety, remember that, Mr. Shepard.
Right. Danger doesn't take a day off, Mr. Showers.
Apparently it takes a whole year off.
All right, item number 13, board comments. We'll start with Mr. Elsegar.
This is my last meeting because I'm going to be going to law school at the University of Florida, and there's no meeting next month, and I'll be gone before our next meeting in August. So I want to say thank you to everyone here. Regardless of who you are, believe it or not, everyone in here has helped me grow in some way, and I'm honestly going to take a lot of what I've gathered here onto future steps in life. I don't know how, but it's certainly going to be included in some way or another. So thank you to all of you. I hope I've done some type of good while I've been here. You never really know what kind of legacy you're going to leave, if you want to call it that, whatever people will say about you when you're gone, but you just try to do everything right when you're around, and then you hope everything works out well after that. And that's about it. So thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Ms. Robb.
Just wanted to wish Josiah the best of luck in the future, and thank everybody across the district for everything that's gone on this year, because I know it's been a major unanticipated ordeal, and I've got 4 in the district, so you know, every school has been tremendous, so thank you.
Ms. Sorrentino.
It's kind of like a little repeat, but the summer school program are you guys calling it summer school?
There's 2. Where's the summer school?
So actually, there's 3. There's the ESY program that Special Ed is running. There is the grant-funded program that we're running for the elementary, middle, and a smaller program at the high school. And then the third one is the credit recovery program that's going on at the high school.
Okay.
You're probably thinking of the middle one, the grant-funded one that's mostly regular ed kids.
The 8:30 to 11:30? Okay.
Ours is 8:30 to 11:32, but I don't mind.
My kids are probably in every one of them, but if you got that email, I know, like, I've heard from a couple of parents, like, oh, that's such a hard time, it's only 3 hours, but I think my kids were like, I don't want to go, but I'm like, no, you have to go. I think it's going to be really good for the kids to be able to go and still be around a couple of friends and be able to get a head start for next year, so I'm really glad that that program is being offered. It's not something that traditionally has ever been offered before, so I really hope that a lot of parents are able to maybe partner up with other parents, you know, one drops off, one picks up, or something like that, because I think it's a really good opportunity for a lot of the children. Thank you to all the staff for all the upcoming ceremonies between all of the different field days, all of the different promotions. Everyone's really had to think out of the box this year to really make things fun and exciting and staying within the guidelines, and you know, all of the kids come home really happy and they're excited for the stuff that they've been doing. Thank you to the 3 high schoolers, Tyler, Gina, and
Liliana.
Lily, yeah. They've been really great, and because I have a senior too, so sometimes they'll say something, I'll be able to go home and I'll be like, Free, I didn't know about this. But they've been amazing, and they like really report on everything that's going on in the high school. Like if you aren't there, it's like everything that they report on. The other thing, my daughter was in the mock car crash that you guys had in the back of the school. I love when those mock car crashes happen. She's been an actor in it for the past 3 years, and for her, she really enjoys, like she came home and she goes, Mom, the glass from the window shattered on me, you know, they put a blanket over me, and I wasn't there, I can't move, and they have to come and strap me down and carry me out. She was like, it's so realistic for her, and I'm sure for the other kids watching it, it's really realistic. So were you a part of that too?
I was not, but some of the PVAC people were.
I love that those are able to take place, and I think it's really important for the kids to see it and participate in it. So I just wanted to touch on that, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and good luck, Josiah.
Thanks. Good luck.
I wanted to say good luck to Josiah. You will be so missed. really. We had some good times.
Thanks.
And I want to thank Ms. Turner for stepping in and doing a terrific job.
Thank you.
Especially with the COVID tracking.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Congratulations and best wishes to all of our members who are moving on or stepping back in. We really appreciate your contribution to our district. And yes, Josiah, we have learned from you as well. Don't you worry, you have left your mark. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes, you've made us think, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. And a big congratulations to our high school seniors this year. I hope that your year ends more normally than it began, and best of luck to all of you. Yeah, I know, I get choked up when I talk about the kids, always. I don't even have anybody graduate. Every year.
Mr. Showers.
I'd just like to thank Sherry, did a fantastic job for us.
Thank you.
Lindsay, you will be missed. And Josiah, you taught us how to say no.
Oh my God, that's what I was going to say.
Good luck. If there's anything you ever need, call me.
I was going to say the same thing to you, Josiah, so there you go. I just want to congratulate Miss Erickson again. She happens to be one of my son's favorite teachers. She's just outstanding, and she just goes above and beyond. The first day I met her, I was like, she's fantastic, so I'm happy for her. Welcome back to Mr. Falcone. We're so excited. I was fortunate enough to have Tyler as my representative, which, so I got to know him a little bit more than our other representatives. So I do want to, congratulate all of them and wish them luck. But Tyler has a little bit of special place in my heart because he was there when I was chairman. So, and thank you, Sherry. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
You're welcome.
You did
Thank
a
you.
good job.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, I can't. So I can't say goodbye or anything. I can't. You know how I feel.
Mr. Foote.
I have a 3-hour speech here.
Motion to adjourn.
No, I want to thank Sherry. This has been a difficult year, and you stepped in, and we're still here at the end of the year. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Lindsay, and good luck to you and Josiah. Same down in the wonderful state of Florida. While we're experiencing all the snow and such, you can be down there.
We'll send you some.
So good luck to you too, and I look forward to working with Brian next year.
Yeah, well, he eats dinner at 3 o'clock. So, all right, I have a few. First, I'd like to, the mock card drill, I think, which is a valuable tool that the school puts into place. And I'm going to give a plug to the firefighting program at the high school. I think they were instrumental with that. And I think that this community would benefit from more programs like that. Of course, I'm going to be a little impartial, as we know, to the firefighting program. But I'd like to see more programs like that come through, including an EMS program. You're welcome. And those two are very much related. Josiah, I can't say, one thing I will say, and we all joke, and it's on everybody's tongue, no, right? But with that said, I know that when you ran, you went door to door, and you knocked on people's doors, and you asked them, and you told them that if it did, I don't want to say if it didn't make sense, but you weren't going to raise things, and you stuck to that, and that just shows your character. Right? You stuck to that. You stuck to your word. As much as sometimes I tried to get you to change it, you stuck to it. And so, you're a man of character, and good luck in law school. And when you're famous in Florida as a lawyer, don't forget the small town, right? Don't forget to come home.
Thank you.
Another person that I'd like to thank, and I thanked Mrs. Turner earlier, but someone had to take her place as well. And fill that spot. So if Mrs. Holleran is here, Becky, I would like to thank, I can't see you, there's a big post in the way, but I would like to thank you for stepping up to the plate. And I hear that you just did an amazing job and kept the school going for that year. So for that, I thank you as well. So I didn't see you earlier, or I would have included you in that, but you hide behind the post. So as we close out the school year, I'd like to say, this has been a difficult year for everybody. Parents, teachers, administrators, and kind of what we do on the board is, not really a fraction of what the people in the trenches do, every day. So everybody in the trenches needs to be thanked. This year we've had some tragedies, and it was good to see community pride and, the sense of community that everybody came together. And so that's great, and I'm looking forward to that moving forward as well. And graduation is this Monday around 5:30, so I hope, the board will be there as well. Okay. And that's all I have. All right, so the next board meeting is scheduled for the third Wednesday, which is August 18th, 2021. There is no July Board of Education meeting. So I hope everybody listening, the parents, kids, go out and have a fun, safe summer. You deserve it. And with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment at 8:33 p.m. by Mr. Showers. I need a second on that. By Mr. Foote. Surprise, surprise. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned, 8:33.